Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin Conway, and today we're going to be going over the EIDL grant of up to $10,000, the free forgivable money that you can get if you have a side hustle of any kind, whether that's cleaning houses, driving for Uber, selling things online, or running a lemonade stand. Doesn't matter if you're a legal entity, if you're an LLC, a corporation, or you just kind of do it on the side. I'm going to show you how you can get up to $10,000. And this video is a follow-up to my previous video I made a few days ago on the EIDL grant program of up to $10,000. Be sure to check that one out if you want to know more. But essentially, this video is going to be clarifying who qualifies and for how much of the EIDL advance of $10,000. With that being said, my name is Kevin Conway. I make personal finance videos and other stimulus news videos all the time, so be sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with anybody that you think it might benefit. Doing those things really helps the channel, and it also helps this video spread to more people so that more people who are affected can actually get the help that they need. We want to spread this information far and wide so that people who are eligible can sign up and get that $10,000 for free. Now, there are some stipulations that are different than in the CARES Act, which I'm going to be starting off talking about here. I'm going to show you exactly who qualifies for that $10,000. You meet these criteria, you'll get those $10,000. So let's get right into it. Basically, the first things first, there are three criteria that you need to meet in order to even get this eligibility. And number one, in order to be a covered entity that is in the law, that is a legal definition, in order to have that, you need to, number one, apply for the loan and be a business, so a sole proprietorship, an LLC, whatever. And a sole proprietorship is the default mechanism by which most people operate their businesses. If you sell things online, if you're an Uber driver, whatever it may be, you are by default a sole proprietor. You don't have to file anything for that. That is just an automatic thing that occurs when you operate a business. So that's likely you out there. Number two, you need to have an income loss of 30% or more due to the pandemic in an 8-week period, basically from any time after March 2nd of 2020, any 8-week period there compared to earlier in 2020 or in 2019. If you're a seasonal business, you cut Christmas trees or whatever, there's different rules that apply. And so that's a little more complicated, but most people don't have seasonal businesses. So just know that 30% income drop in an 8-week period, basically any time during the pandemic to before the pandemic, is what you need, and that loss has to be due to the pandemic. I talked about this before. If you drive for Lyft or whatever it may be, and all of a sudden you couldn't drive in April and May and June, well, of course you're going to have an income drop of more than 30% than earlier on in, say, January or December of 2019. That qualifies for you. If you're selling things online, that's a little bit more different because more people purchase things online, but it all depends on your business. If you're a house cleaner, of course that is going to affect you because people won't let you in their houses, and so you may have had an income loss of 30% or more in that time period. You can quickly see how you can easily meet that criteria. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below, whether it's about this provision or other provisions. I'll do my best to answer them. I try to answer as many comments as I can, and I always really appreciate hearing from you all in the comment section. So those are the two things. Number three is the most controversial. The third thing that you need is that you need to be located in a low-income community. A low-income community is a legally defined section of the country, and you can look with the link I have in my pinned comment of a government website which will show you what the income is in your area, and you can determine whether or not you fit in that low-income community definition. I talked about this in more detail in my previous video on EIDL grants, but that is a necessary condition of this funding, and I'm going to be talking about exactly who gets that funding. Those are the three things that you need to meet: low-income community, apply for the loan and be a business, and also have that income drop of 30% or more. Okay, with that being said, jumping right into the text of the law, section 331, it essentially says that you will get entitlement to the full amount, and I'll put this on the screen here. Entitlement to the full amount so if you read this here, subject to paragraph 2, a covered entity, which a covered entity in this case are those entities that meet those three criteria I just talked about. After submitting a request to the administrator and they verify it, shall receive up to a total of $10,000 under the CARES Act. So read that very clearly. Shall receive a total of $10,000. That's not shall receive up to, that's not, we'll think about it. If you meet those criteria, you shall receive the $10,000. That's as clear as it gets. I mean, that's from a legal perspective, that's about as black and white as you can be. If you meet this criteria, you shall get $10,000. Now, there's a few other things you need to be aware of. You need to apply for the loan, but you don't need to be approved for the loan. Look at this section. The applicable loan for which the covered entity applies or applied to under the section of Small Business Administration Act is or was approved. That's irrelevant. So he says without regard to whether you're even approved for the loan, or if you apply for it and you're denied, you can still get that $10,000. How great is that? You apply for the loan, you get the $10,000, and you don't even have to take the loan once you get it, or you could just not even get it, and then you're still covered. It's $10,000. It's free. It's forgivable. It's tax-free. It's as good as it gets. I know it's honestly hard to believe, but I'm showing you the actual text here. This comes directly from the House government website. It's about as clear as it gets. And so, additionally, they basically also say that they have up to 21 days to request certain information from you, your credit score and tax documents verifying whether or not you're a real legitimate business. And so, those are essentially the things that they're going to look for. But those are basically the big criteria that you need to get that $10,000. Low income community, 30% drop in income, apply for the loan. Those are the things. And if you meet that, then you're pretty much home free. Now, what is frustrating about that is that some people don't live in a low income community. So what happens with them? As of right now, we really don't know. I know that's very frustrating, but the SBA has been pretty quiet. I don't know what they've been doing, but we passed this law a week or two ago, and the SBA has been silent. If you go to their website, you can't actually even apply for this grant as of right now. As soon as you're eligible to do so, as soon as they put the portal up, I'm going to be making a video, a step-by-step on how to actually apply for this loan. So subscribe to the channel, and I will walk you through exactly what to do in order to get this $10,000 free forgivable grant. I'm also going to be informing you of any other changes that occur with the SBA that make more people eligible or fewer people eligible. I'm going to be talking about that in more detail. So essentially, if you're somebody who applied last time and you either didn't get the money or you only got $1,000 or $2,000 and not the full $10,000, what happens with you? Well, we actually know it's pretty clear. The law actually makes this clear as well. If you are a person that otherwise would meet those criteria, so you apply for the loan, that's easy. You obviously did so, or you're eligible to apply for the loan. Number two, you had a 30% income drop. And number three, you're located in a low-income community. If those three criteria are satisfied and you applied for the loan last time, you didn't get the grant, or you only got something less than $10,000, don't worry, you are covered. You will be receiving the money up to $10,000. Actually, sorry, not up to. You will be receiving $10,000, or whatever the difference is between what you received last time and $10,000 is. You are going to clearly get that money. It says it in the text of law. That much is clear. Now, if you're not somebody who lives in a low-income community, or you're not somebody who had that 30% income drop, and you otherwise don't qualify under this covered entity definition, unfortunately, the way the law is written right now, you are not clearly entitled to $10,000. But that doesn't mean that you're not eligible or not able to get $10,000 at some point in the future. The reason why I say that is because Congress and the SBA are two different things. Congress intended a certain thing when they passed the CARES Act, which is anybody who applies for this loan gets $10,000, whereas the SBA unilaterally went ahead last time and actually said, no, we're not going to do that. We're only going to give $1,000 per employee. So you have a business, you're an employee of yourself. If you have a spouse working with you, that's another employee, you'll get $2,000, not $10,000. Congress was not happy with that. They actually grilled the SBA and said, this is not what we intended. Why did you go off and do this on your own? And so it's interesting that they actually put this in the law now, where it doesn't actually give people who are not otherwise qualified under that 30% income drop, low income status, the full $10,000. It didn't actually explicitly put that in the law, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to be the case that people who otherwise don't meet those criteria aren't eligible to get that $10,000. I know that's kind of confusing. The long answer is basically the SBA has not come out and said exactly what they're going to do. So you're going to want to subscribe to this channel so that I can break it down as soon as they release any information that actually clarifies that for us. If you have any questions about any of what I just said right now, comment below and I will do my best to respond to it. This is all confusing right now. There's so much going on. There's a lot of people saying different things, and it's honestly kind of not straightforward. I mean, what Congress has said and what the SBA has done in the past and what they're doing now, which is nothing, is not really helping a lot. So we're doing our best right now to actually break it down. I'm an attorney by training, so I read this law. Again, you could read it yourself. It doesn't take a lawyer to understand that basically this is the way the law actually is written. This is what it says right now. If you're somebody who lives in a low-income community, 30% income drop and applied for the loan and are a covered business and don't have a few other things like don't have more than 300 employees, etc., then you will get that $10,000. You will, it's very clear. And if you're somebody who applied last time who got something less than 10 grand, who otherwise meets those criteria, you will receive that $10,000. You shall be entitled to it. That's great. But if you're not somebody who lives in a low-income community or had an income drop of 30% or more, you are not necessarily entitled to that $10,000, but you may be able to get it. We don't know right now. We'll know more as the law actually gets regulations and everybody gets on board and gets behind actually promulgating them. So that was a whirlwind. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I made it a little bit more clear than it was before you watched this video. If I helped you out in any way, please consider liking the video. It takes nothing but just a simple click, and that helps push it out to more people, and more people can start to understand this a little bit better. That's my goal, to spread financial knowledge. That's the goal of the channel. So if you want to actually be a part of that, please subscribe to the channel as well. With that being said, my name is Kevin Conway. I'll see you next time. Thanks.